Images and Voices of Hope is a global dialogue with the media that's been unfolding all over the world since 1999. We've got conversations that have started in over 50 cities. So Images and Voices of Hope works with a question. What does it look like when media are agents of world benefit? This was 1998 when we started talking about this, and what we felt was that the biggest export of the U.S., and really now a lot of countries, was its messages, its news stories, its soap operas, its magazines, its films.
If you've seen pictures of oceans of cell phones and aluminum cans and so on, that's what I do. It's a commentary on our mass culture.
My impression so far of Images and Voices of Hope is that it's a group of people who have found their deep purpose.
I do research on alcoholism and spirituality.
And I work on sustainable development and climate change.
Facilitating community conversations on what does a culture of peace look like.
Who are living a kind of extremely deep life and projecting that out through the work that they do. And that's what I'm trying to do. And so I feel like there are a whole bunch of people who are from the same planet I'm from.
Well, this is the story that comes at the end of the news on Friday nights. So I make no apologies about the fact that I focus in on the good in people.
You guys are on your way to Camden, South Carolina.
My stories are all chosen completely at random, but I worry sometimes that you won't believe me. Here, especially when they turn out
Suzanne Lee.
Too good to be true.
They call me Miss Lee, they call me Mama Lee, they call me Susie Lee.
And for a while, I thought we were just getting lucky, that you couldn't really throw a dart at a map and pick somebody at random out of the phone book and find something in their life that other people could relate to, or even more importantly, learn something from. So that's kind of what I think my job is, to do something positive and affirming.
So the way that Images and Voices of Hope moves is someone in some city in the world will contact us and say, I want to convene our media community to look at these issues of what it is in media that might benefit our community or our country. We support them in that, and then once they're going as a conversation, we link them together via our website, via our international summit with each other, so that what was just a local conversation becomes part of a global conversation. It is a globally linked organization, but every conversation is local. So the conversation in Moscow sounded nothing like the conversation in Kuala Lumpur. And the conversation we're about to have in Johannesburg won't sound anything like the conversations we've been running in Rio or Miami. Every conversation is local, it has to do with local issues and what the people in that media community care about.
Soy periodista, soy presentadora de noticias en Mar del Plata, en Buenos Aires, Argentina.
I was a former journalist in Vietnam, and after escape from the war in Vietnam, I broke the pen and now I hold the brush.
This is not an organization that struggles. It attracts extraordinary talent and people at the top levels of journalism and filmmaking and print and art and advertising.
I'm a reporter for Marketplace, the public radio show. I cover Latin America.
I live in Cape Town and I'm a filmmaker, documentary filmmaker.
I'm a producer for a PBS station in Miami, WLRN.
I spent about 25 years as a broadcast journalist working for CNBC.
And I am the investigative projects editor at the Dallas Morning News.
I'm an editorial writer for the New York Times. Journalists I know most of them want so desperately to give a voice to the voiceless and to hear those stories and to right the wrongs.
And so what this is about really is putting people back in touch with what drove them. And it's really when people touch back into that, they realize that they're dying on the job a little bit every day when it's only about money.
But I'm standing there with a tape in my hand and I'm thinking, well, there's a war going on. The American people have not seen this. This is something that could be very useful for the American public to see and know about. There was nobody who was going to touch this film during the war, and it never got seen in the United States. Bill Moyers put it on a year later in one of his hand-wringing programs about how the American press had not done as good a job as it could have done during the first Gulf War.
And that's who we are. And the great thing about coming to a place like this is that you realize that you're not alone.
So it's really kind of reawakening what it is in the media community that we got excited about originally, and what might we do together. What might we do alone, and what might we do together to help our world at this time when it's so fragile, and when the messages of the world can potentially leverage such big ideas.
It takes a real power and a real strength to do what needs to be done. And that power has got to come from somewhere. That strength has got to come from somewhere. So you can come to a place like this and get really rejuvenated, because I think we're all passionate. We got in the business to really, most of us, change the world, to help change the world, to help people. And it's a very challenging time. It always has been a very challenging thing to do.
So we welcome your contributions as a writer, as a thinking partner, or your financial contributions to join this expanding network of media as an agent to world benefit.
If all souls were brought here to care, why are there so many crying? If all souls were brought here to love, why so much needless dying? The earth is one country and mankind its citizens. Let us raise a flag of our one human nation. Bury the hate and water the love. It's time to bring in the world.
And Images and Voices of Hope is a place where we can build a culture of media professionals. What works is celebrating all the millions of people who are doing extraordinary things to make this planet a place we can live on and a place that can be healthy for our children.
I've been a volunteer for Images and Voices of Hope for the last 8 years, and although I'm involved with many, many journalism organizations, and all of that comes from the head, my heart is in Images and Voices of Hope. It connects me with my colleagues in a different way and connects me with why I became a journalist in the first place.